Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Grab yourself a cup of tea and let's talk some boxing. Now Amir Khan says he wants to get out before the end of the year and get back in the ring, get back active. And he is happy to take that Kell Brook fight. He also said though that Kell Brook seems to be quite quiet on the subject and he is not afraid because he's been in there with Canelo and Terence Crawford. So he doesn't see why anyone would believe he's afraid of Kell Brook. So he would be happy to take that fight, but it is clear that he would rather have a warm-up before he gets in with Kell Brook, and that's probably the right way to go. Kell Brook would do the same before getting in with Amir Khan. So there is a genuine possibility that this fight can happen now, and I think it's due to the fact that neither fighter can go any other way. This is the biggest fight for both of them, so that is why it seems more likely, and Eddie Hearn did reveal that is actually being talked about, and there could be many broadcasters that get it, Sky, BT, even DAZN, but he is not necessarily working exclusively with Kell Brook or Amir Khan, but he does know that talks are underway, so this is definitely a possibility now, and I know that it's gone past its time, they are not in their primes anymore, but it is the only fight really that can generate what they are looking for. I mean, they're not really going to get a world title opportunity at this stage unless they start building towards it. So this is the biggest fight for Khan, and likewise for Kell Brook. We haven't really heard too much from Kell Brook on this or fighting at all in general. I mean, he had that defeat to Terence Crawford, and we haven't really heard too much about the intentions of Kell Brook going forwards. Does he want to stay in the sport of boxing? And is Amir Khan an opportunity he would like to explore? I would imagine that Kell Brook would be happy to do that because he was keen to get this fight on a couple of years ago, because remember Amir Khan signed a 3-fight deal with Matchroom. Now, originally what Eddie Hearn wanted to do was give Amir Khan 2 fights, then let him have the Kell Brook fight. That was the reason really behind him signing him. I mean, obviously Amir Khan does usually do good numbers, and he is a big draw because he has that vulnerability, he's fast, he's explosive, always in exciting fights. So there was that element to it as well, but still Eddie Hearn did want to be the one to make Kell Brook versus Amir Khan finally. And that was a major factor in motivating Eddie Hearn to sign on Amir Khan for a 3-fight deal back in 2018 where he fought Phil Greco, then he fought Samuel Vargas, but ultimately in the end went on to fight Terence Crawford for the WBO welterweight title instead of going down the route of Kell Brook. I guess in some ways you cannot blame him for going for a world title opportunity over a non-world title fight. The Kell Brook fight would have been huge then. Even then, it was questionable about whether they were both at their best. I would say they probably weren't, but still it was going to be a big fight if it could have taken place then. Now, it isn't as big, but in some ways I don't blame Amir Khan for going for Terence Crawford, because you cannot say he's ducking Kell Brook to go and face Terence Crawford. It is a world title opportunity, and that is what Amir Khan was going in search of, not necessarily a fight with Kell Brook, an all-British domestic showdown. But now that seems to be the only option for Amir Khan. He has said it for years, the Kell Brook fight is always there. I guess he has been waiting for a time like now to actually bite the bullet and make this fight. Maybe that was the reason. He can have the Terence Crawford fights, he can have the other big fights that he believes are further along than Kell Brook. I mean, he even said he didn't fight Kell Brook because he thought that was the best way to hurt him. He didn't necessarily need to teach him a lesson in the ring to hurt Kell Brook. He could just not give him the fight because he was the one making money. He was the one who was the big draw. So he believed that Kell Brook needed him more than he needed Kell Brook, even when Kell Brook was the champion and Amir Khan was not, when they were both in the welterweight division. Even then, Amir Khan still had the big numbers, it still was a big draw in the UK and in the US. So in some ways Kell Brook needed him to build his profile, I guess. I mean, Kell Brook built his profile incredibly by fighting Gennady Golovkin, then Errol Spence straight after in Sheffield. So he done well there to build his profile. But before that, he wasn't as big as Amir Khan when it comes to the commercial side and pay-per-view numbers. So what Khan was doing is just not giving him that chance, not giving him the opportunity to progress when it comes to that side of things. And that was the way to teach him a lesson, not necessarily just get him in the ring and teach him a lesson that way. So he has just said for years that the Kell Brook fight is always there. I believe what he means by that, or what he meant by that, is I have bigger fish to fry. I have these bigger fights to take. Possible unifications, possible world title opportunities. Kell Brook is over there doing his own thing, not making as much money as I am. So I'm going to take all of these big fights, I'm going to leave Kell Brook over there, then I'll come get him after I'm done doing all of this and cleaning up, getting all the money, earning the big bucks, and doing my own thing. That is really what I believe Amir Khan was getting at when he said the Kell Brook fight is always there. The difference is this time, there are no bigger fights for Amir Khan. There are no big opportunities, world title chances. Errol Spence is going in a different direction. He's not going to give Amir Khan an opportunity. Terence Crawford won't either. He's fighting Sean Porter. Ugas on a different route. I would imagine they will try and make Ugas in a unification fight. So there is no world title chance in the welterweight division. Now, the Kell Brook fight is the one that is there for Amir Khan to take, and I believe that he actually wants it this time around. So maybe one warm-up fight for both later in the year, then we could finally see this showdown in 2022. My question is for you though, are you still interested in Amir Khan versus Kell Brook, or is it a fight that has just gone past it and is no longer relevant? I think that you could go either way, but as soon as they start building up to the fight and having press conferences, things might start to change. We might become a little bit more emotionally involved in this type of contest. Anyway, guys, drop your thoughts on this in the comments below. Also leave a like and grab that subscribe button. Thanks, guys.